All right, everyone. My name is Joey. This is,
Glizzy Mike, what's going on?
and this is the first introductory episode to our podcast, Came Out Swinging. So, in this very small episode, we're going to go into a couple of things that you're going to want to know for the future and a couple of things that we're going to talk about in the future. So, the first thing is we're going to talk about ourselves. We're going to talk about how the season episode structure is going to be. We're going to talk about the topics of future episodes. We're going to talk about suggestions from you guys if you guys want to give us suggestions. We're going to talk about where it's going to be stored. We're going to talk about the average length, and then we're going to wrap it up. So I'll go into why I wanted to start the podcast. Pretty much, I'm an Uber driver, and that's something I've been doing for the last 4.5 years. And I've had probably at this point 100 people who've enjoyed our conversation so much, our small talk in the car. They're like, man, you have a good voice. You know what you're talking about most of the time. You should start a podcast. So about a month and a half ago, I hit up this guy, one of my best friends, and I was just like, we should definitely start a podcast because why not, right? And he was on board, so here we are. So yeah, if you want to go into you and talk about a couple of things about you, go right ahead.
Just two dudes in a podcast.
Two dudes in a
Who can
podcast,
stop
exactly,
us, right?
right.
So, hey everyone, my name's Mike, but everyone calls me Glizzy Mike. There's a whole story behind that, and we'll definitely get into like our lore of who we are as people.
We will definitely get into that as the future episodes go on.
Essentially, we're just a group of friends that we met through different music events throughout the greater Philadelphia area, right? Every single one of us has a deep love and appreciation for music, and that's really what brought us all together. And we learned through the times we spent hanging out that there's so much more to our relationship, and we learned hey, there's a lot that we can talk about and really do a deep dive in different subjects. So we're so excited to really just rant and rave on the couch. We're basically just hanging out in my living room, just having a good time, figuring out hey,
big ass living room, just two dudes, guys being dudes. That's basically
dudes
what this
being
podcast
dudes
is going to be, right? Exactly. So the season episode structure, 10 episodes a season, I feel like that's a good structure. He's on board with it, so that's pretty much what we're going to do. The future topics. So if I bring it up, the next episode, which is going to be episode 1, is going to be driving and Uber and Lyft. Then I have the idea of talking about money, credit, and savings in a future episode, talk about life, mentality, and advice in a future episode, technology, internet, and operating systems, rock band, Guitar Hero, and video games, since I'm a nerd, business, companies, and ethics, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and El Camino lore, because that's one of my favorite shows. Music, favorite bands, and underrated artists, that's most likely going to be a 3-hour podcast. We'll see. But the other idea that I had was road trips and traveling and tips how to survive and how to make the best of it. Then we have the possibility of future guests. And we have a couple other people that we've interviewed, and they said that they may want to be on a couple episodes. So you may see future guests, or you may not. Most of the time, it may just be me, Glizzy. It just depends. If you're listening to this on Spotify, if you're listening to this on YouTube, I'm not a big Apple fan, but I'm going to figure out Apple Music and how to do all that. So no one feels secluded. No one has to download Spotify to listen to this or something like that. So we'll definitely figure that out going forward. The average length of the podcast. We're going to try and keep the episode structure to 30 minutes, maybe an hour long max, depending on the topic, depending on the specifics, depending on if, he keeps asking questions and I have answers, or I keep asking questions and he has answers. It just depends. If you guys want to give us suggestions, leave it in the comments, or, you can DM us on our personal Instagrams and whatever you want to do. We're up for suggestions, and there's no limit to what we can talk about, because in my field and his field, we have a lot of knowledge, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that we could talk about. But yeah, if you don't have anything else to say, we can wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
All right, let's wrap it up. My social media is Newport Shorty. I'll leave it in the description or somewhere else where you can find it, depending on the platform.
And I'm at its_Duranimal.
The last thing I'm going to talk about in this introductory episode, and something to expect going forward, is I had this idea to stand out, to make the podcast unique in some way, because in 2024, everybody has a podcast. So I kind of wanted to give us the unique element of what sets us apart. At the end of every podcast, sometimes it'll be Glizzy, sometimes it'll be me, we'll talk about a quote from a song that we both like. There's a quote from the song called Gold Steps. It's from the album Life's Not Out to Get You, and it's from the band called Neck Deep. The quote goes as following: life's not out to get you, despite the things you've been through, because what you give is what you get, and it doesn't make sense to make do. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed listening, and we hope that you keep showing up to listen to our future episodes.
There we go. Have a good one.